Okay guys, time to tear this thing back down and put a set of injectors in it. It's a cool day, maybe just a little windy, which is good because I've been doing this in really hot weather. So I'm gonna take it back apart, put the new injectors in, and see how far I can get today. I got her tore down, and you can see right here how much I had opened this up just to see if I could get it to start, which is pretty out of whack. Of course, it ain't gonna move with these injectors set up the way they are. So the next step is to take all the injectors out and replace them, and I'll have to vacuum the cylinders because there's fuel in there. I'll just pull number one here. Most of the fuel will go in there and I'll vacuum it out. The hardest part about it is putting it back together and making sure all of your push rods are in the right places. But yeah, that's not that bad. It's just kind of a almost a three-person or three-handed job. It can be at times. So yeah, so let's pull these injectors out and start swapping them. I don't know how many times the cuff's been reamed, if it's been reamed more than once, because I know for sure it had to be reamed one time because this was something that they had to do some work when they first came out with this motor, and reaming was a part of it, which sure wasn't much. So since I can't find the tool, I'm putting the O-ring on it, which is not necessary, but it does show to be on this injector, which will help seal it, and then it will eventually work its way and seal based on, the shape will help seal it. So that's my theory. Anyway, I'm pretty sure we're good to go. If not, then I don't have any other choice. This thing's so old, the tools are almost impossible to find now. All I need to do is look in there, make sure I got all the fuel out. I made the mistake of buying the longest one, and that's a dumb thing. I should have bought the shortest. I mean, it just barely fits in the hole. I don't see any more fluid in there. These cylinders have a little divot on the top, so looks good to me. Okay. It's been lubed up. He's in good. Nothing seems to be fine. I can definitely tell the difference. They're so much tighter. Okay, I will go back through and tighten those up according to spec after I get them all swapped out. That wasn't too bad. After doing it a few times, you get quicker at it. I've got to torque these down, and then I'm going to go back with rockers so I can set these injector heights and also the rocker, you know, intake, exhaust. Get all that set, and then I'll put it back together. Okay, those are 18.5 foot-pounds. This is an old school type. That's how you do it. Alrighty, I got them all in there, and I noticed the sinking is just completely out of whack now. I guess because of the new injectors being different, so I've got to resync everything. Obviously, you got to do it anyway. So what I need to do now is I need to turn this thing over a couple of times and then start setting everything based on what they say in the manual. One of the push rods is out of whack. They slipped out of position. When you turn it over a couple of times, make sure you don't have something funky going on, and you start it and you ruin it. That's the only one I can see that looks like it was messed up. Now let's see what happens. Oh, we ought to be close to top dead center. Alright, so what I did in order to get the adjustment on the injectors is I made a tool, and I double checked to make sure with the caliper that this tool is exactly right. And this tool is perfect height. And so I can do 3, 5, and 6, so there's 3. Very, very, very close. Anyway, back in the day, not everybody had a laser cutter, and I have one as a part of our business. So I could make the tool. I thought about the 3D printing, but okay, it's not a 17, it's an 18. Thought about 3D printing it. But you can get pretty accurate with that, but not like a laser cutter. When I know both edges are catching, just like you would use a feeler gauge, and you've got it perfectly vertical, parallel with the spring and the injector, then it should be good. that should be good. Somebody's gonna say it ain't good enough. Well, I'm gonna tell you right now, getting those tools to do this, I know it's not impossible because there's probably a way to find someone that's getting rid of them, but when you do find them, they are ridiculously expensive. Let me go get my torque wrench. This one is, oh, what did I say, 22.5 for the torque setting on these bolts. I'm assuming they're all the same, but on all your adjustments, I can't find any information to say otherwise. So we need to do 3, 5, and 6. I just realized a big mistake I made. Some of you guys might have caught it, and some of you guys just probably thought, oh, he did it. But I didn't. I did not torque these bolts down. So what does that mean exactly? Well, what it means is this is all going to have to be redone that I did, because without those torqued down, there's going to be slight movement, which means, yeah, I'm going to have to redo injectors and valves. Now that I redid that, everything seems to be in good order. And if I move this, I still have a sluggish injector over here. It wasn't like that a while ago, so something's not right with this injector. You know, these new ones are probably a little bit on the sticky side anyway. They need to be ran. But all of them are working. I don't know if you can tell, but if you look at these, that's the injectors turning on and off and on and off. Not very much room, but I've got to adjust them now where they're all working precisely together. Okay, I got another little tool that I made to replace the tool I can't buy, which is a little 3mm stop. And that 3mm stop goes in behind the injector stop, and it holds injector number 1 open. Alright, so what I need to do is I need to stop that first injector where it's at, which is 3mm open. So I've got to put something back here to keep it from moving, and then I've got to set the rest of the rack to that. Okay, I think I got this stabilized. So injector 1 is set at 3mm opening. And then if I work this rack, they tell you to use a pair of vice grips, but I don't have anything that's that skinny except for what I'm using there to put down there, and there's not enough room. So I can work the whole rack with this and it should be able to set it the same way. As long as it's moving and you get it, you move it so you know kind of where it's going to land. And then I made this tool that tells me the distance this is out. Of course, this is the old distance, so it's just slightly different, but I think I can set them all the same regardless. Well, after going through it a few times, I think I got it. Being that these are new, I think they drag just a little bit. So I worked them several times just to make sure I can get a pretty consistent reading on it. I'm a little concerned about how much fuel is going to go in as soon as you start it. This is the entire rack adjustment. You turn it clockwise to turn it down. Governor's got everything turned off. I don't see any movement anywhere, so not real sure what to do on this adjustment because these are new and the other one was adjusted so far out of whack. I think the other one was turned way up to make those injectors work based on pretty much everything I've seen. And these injectors are off. They're all off. And then if I was going to give it fuel, I don't know. I think we can start at that position. We can start here and work our way up. I think I've got everything synced correctly. Everything's adjusted correctly, so I need to start putting it back together. That just about does it. It's in a state now where I can test it out. I mean, I don't plan on taking it down again. I really hope this fixes the issue because I'm not going to take it apart again. I do need to tighten a couple things like this boost. There's a boost tube here. And then I've got to get this air conditioner compressor put back on there so it doesn't flop, so it'll hold this in place. Otherwise it will flop bad. Okay, next step, I need to pump this up, try to get all the air out of the system. I can hear the air in there. It may not start right up because I may not have that governor fuel setting exactly right, so I'm going to give it a shot and let's see what happens. Oh, I forgot. I got to turn this thing on. See how much power it takes? I mean, the problem is I can't hook those big batteries up directly, so they're going through these little cables, so that never helps. And I'm just going to let that sit for a little bit before I try it again. Absolutely nothing, that's what. I did this the last time. I forgot to take this stupid screwdriver out. It ain't gonna turn over with that screwdriver in there. Duh. Try it again. I can check the setting on this governor. I think I turned it up just a little bit more, but it just was turned too low. So I'm gonna see what happens. Here's the exhaust. It's definitely set a little too high. Not supposed to go that fast. I think 2250 is max. It was at 2300 just then. She's a little over. But there it is. I'm excited. It worked. That fixed the problem. Now if it had a brand new set of batteries, it would work great. I'm going to try to start it without turning that booster on and see what happens. Nothing, of course. I got everything back together. Just need to adjust the idle, and that's about it. It is. Finally. Alright, so as you guys know, got this tractor running, starting like it's supposed to with the new set of injectors. What I want to do today is go back through after I've driven it, and I want to check all the valve clearances and check the injector clearances and just make sure everything's good. It doesn't sound the same as it used to, which is fine. I just feel like it's loping a little more than it probably should. So after everything's been ran and kind of seated, then it gives me an opportunity to go through it and check it one more time just to make sure everything's set right. Because I've never heard this engine run properly. It's always been weak on fluid or low on fluid, fuel. So baby, I mean, it sounds good still. It's just I feel like it could be a little smoother.